Solder joints, the bad and the good. Stick with us in this video and I'll show you the difference. Hello, I'm Josh, and if you're new to my channel, Mr. Plumber, I'll be guiding you through your plumbing projects. So leave a comment with your video request and be sure to subscribe and show your support with a thumbs up. Bad solder joints versus good solder joints. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit, coach you along, and explain some of the difference. As you can see here, it's 3/4 inch copper. And that's what majority really deal with unless you're going to do commercial work. So first off, the bad solder joint. A bad solder joint, it will have way too much solder, or it will have a crack in between the solder joint or the pipe. It'll have a crack in between the pipe and the fitting. It could also be extremely black. And let me show you some examples. All right, example, black, burn your fitting up, okay? If you see right here, this fitting is extremely black. And what has happened, tried to heat it up, the solder would not take into the fitting, so they kept a fire on there and burn it up. It actually makes the copper thin. It actually is extremely hard to use with that WD-40, that trick I showed you on one of my other videos. Okay? You can tell right off the bat. If it starts to turn black and it's not taking the solder, get rid of it. Stop what you're doing. Go get another fitting, pull it back off, re-sand it, the copper, not the fitting. And some of the reasons why your solder will not take is because there's oil on the fitting, there's oil on the pipe, and the oil could actually come from your fingers. And if you'll look right here, you can see that the top of this copper pipe does not have no solder on it. So whoever has tried to take flux with it being heated up. And I would say the same thing is here, and they got frustrated and completely cut it out and had to do over. But you can see that it was black, and I would say this one was black too, and when they would go to turn the water back on, it'd have a pinhole or a drip. And it's because they kept trying to put the flux around the outside of it instead of pulling it back apart, re-sanding it, refluxing it, and putting it back together. Okay, you can see that there's no solder on the top of that. All right. This is a 2-inch piece of pipe, and you can see where the solder has ran all the way around this pipe. But if I turn it over, you can see that the solder has ran around except for in one spot. Okay? That one spot right here create a leak. So when you go turn the water back on, water will spray out that because there's no solder in there. And I would say after they fluxed, someone reached in and grabbed hold of it, or they held it with their hand and got oil on it and the solder did not take. That's a bad solder joint, right? All right, so here is the good solder joint. Each area on this pipe, you can see it has had the solder that ran all the way around it. It's uniform. It doesn't run down the pipe anywhere, so it's not too much solder. It's just enough. And that one actually is a very good soldering job. All right. As you can see on this side, it's okay to have extra solder. So if you're doing it and you look at it and it's like, well, I see possibly an area, go ahead, throw some more solder on it. But then when you do, get your rag, wipe it off. You see here where it's been wiped off? Okay, that's great. But just on the opposite side of this, I call it a booger. I'm not really sure what the name of it is, but it's got a bead of solder on here that was not wiped off. Does it really matter? No, it doesn't, but it looks nasty. When you can actually take it and you wipe it off like this one, it looks so much better. You know what I mean? Okay? And then, if I continue around this, look at this coupling here. They have really poured the solder to it. Okay? And you can see where it's ran out and ran out and ran out and ran out and ran out, right? You can see where the solder has ran out of this fitting. Okay? My thoughts is they heated here, worked their way down, and when they got here, this was already hot and it just wasn't taking because they've run all their flux out. In one of my other videos, I have talked about start at the bottom so your heat will transfer and you don't have to stay on it with your fire so long. Start low, work your way up. When you got excess solder that comes out, take a few extra seconds and just wipe it. You know, keep you a damp rag with you to wipe it, just like this one. Okay? So there's the difference between bad solder joints and good solder joints. If you see value in this video, don't forget, give me a thumbs up, like, subscribe, share, comment. It helps me know exactly what you're looking for or what you're needing or what kind of questions you have. All right, I'll see you on the next one.